Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for another bathroom movie review. Now I just want to say, this newest portrayal of the Fantastic Four, well, it was just absolutely fantastic. Play on words. Well, we have our third interpretation of the Fantastic Four franchise and our fourth Fantastic Four movie. Well, fourth that's been released. There was one made in the 90s that never released that apparently is pretty awful.
You guys, it's like you've seen a ghost.
How's your leg, Susan?
Ben, we're all gonna go get some help.
But how cool is that? The fourth movie, and it's Fantastic Four, and this movie is also set in 1964, and the Fantastic Four has now had their powers for 4 years. Clever movie writers. In an age of reboots and sequels, I get people complaining about it, but when it comes to superhero movies, I give them a big pass. There's so many comics, so many different iterations, that it's nice to see these heroes coming back in different capacities. And especially when the past movies were, well, less than fantastic. See what I did there? Fantastic. I won't dive too deep into the plot since this is a spoiler-free review, but simply this is set on Earth 828, so outside the regular MCU movies. We see the Fantastic Four team in 1964. They basically become celebrities, the Earth's main heroes, and for the most part do a pretty good job. Things are great, Sue Storm gets pregnant. This is all in the trailer, by the way. And then the Silver Surfer comes to let them know, hey, you're all about to die. Galactus is coming. And that's our story. As far as the team, the Fantastic Four goes, I love them in this movie. Pedro Pascal does a great job as an awkward but yet super intelligent Reed Richards. And in my opinion, this is the smartest one out of the movies so far. We get Vanessa Kirby as Sue Storm, and in comparison to Jessica Alba, who played Sue Storm in 2005 and 2007, I like that they weren't so concerned about the sexiness of Sue, but more just about her character and her personality and her powers. Weird. Back when I was 13, I thought it was all about just being sexy. Then you got Iban Che Mas Bakrak. I have no idea how to say it, but he plays the Thing, and I love the Thing in this one because he was the heart of the team, and that's what he was always supposed to be. Now, I didn't hate the first two Fantastic Four films. I actually enjoyed them, but they nailed it much better in this movie with him being just the good guy, the moral compass, just bringing the team together. Like I said, the heart. And then Joseph Quinn as Johnny Storm. Now, we still get Johnny as a cocky character, and we love Johnny for that. He's sarcastic, he has a lot of wisecracks, but they made him a lot more intelligent in this movie. And although he's nowhere near Reed Richards' level, and he's dumb in plenty of other ways, I like that it shows that it's not just his fire Human Torch power that makes him useful on the team, but the boy's the thinker. Oh, and let's not forget the cutest character of the movie, Herbie, their little useful, helpful robot. Herbie's super smart, he's useful. When he finds out that Sue Storm is pregnant, he gets to work on that baby room, and one day he just might win Nanny of the Year. I don't even know where to start on what I liked about this film because there is so much to like. I love the 1960s feel. It had a great vibe. It was very retro, but still in some ways futuristic. I mean, they have a flying car. And Herbie, who is very advanced. I want my own Herbie. All I've got is one of those little circular vacuums downstairs that does an okay job, but it's no Herbie. Now, I'd say one of the main highlights of this film for me was just the family vibe. I feel like this is something that's missing in a lot of movies, and I get it. Every movie brings something else to the table. But this movie just shows how much of a family the Fantastic Four is. And even beyond that, how much of a family the world is. They have a lot of fans, and it really is just an innocent movie. And I love that. It's a nice change of pace from movies always trying to be edgy or how dark can we get. And I get why people like the show The Boys. For those of you who don't know, that's about as edgy as it gets. But come on, we gotta balance it out sometimes, and this movie does that. Something I really liked with that family dynamic is that Ben and Johnny in this film, while they do bicker and those times are funny, as brothers do, they also are homies. They make jokes, they back each other up. It looks like they share a room. In the older ones, it was really just a rivalry where they would put up with each other but didn't necessarily bond. And I feel Marvel is learning. I feel like the past 5 years, almost every single MCU movie to come out was trying to fit into the overall MCU feel. So they changed the heroes and the comedy in the movies to adjust it to that overall MCU standard, I guess. Where in this one, I feel like it was flipped. I feel like they changed the MCU feel to match what the Fantastic Four are supposed to be. And that's really what we need. And this is a good year for it because Superman did the same thing with the DCU. James Gunn even said that their goal is to have each movie have its own feel based on the superhero in that movie. Some might be dark, some might be edgy, some might be lighthearted like Superman. So Kevin Feige, I hope you're listening because you did it right on this one. Let's keep that happening going forward. That being said, the action was
fantastic.
And the comedy worked, but the jokes weren't the same as all the others. It was refreshing. Now let's talk about our big bads. Well, one isn't so big. We have Julia Garner playing Shalabal, the Silver Surfer. Now, I know a lot of people are annoyed about the gender change, and of course there's the argument that it's in some version of the comics, but I didn't have an issue with this. There are times I don't like when they do gender changes because it feels so forced just to send a message, but in here it flowed great, and I enjoyed Johnny Storm being obsessed with her in a way, as he multiple times says she's a sexy naked alien. Hey Johnny, we don't know that she's naked. That silver stuff could just be another version of clothes. But she had some of the greatest action scenes, and the surfing scenes? Yeah, I mean, I get it. An alien surfing around space seems cheesy. I don't care. It looked dope. Almost as dope as this. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, I'm the next Silver Surfer, baby. Then there's Galactus, literally the big bad. Pretty sure this guy might be bigger than Godzilla and King Kong. He's played by Ralph Ineson, or Einstein. I'll just call him Galactus. And can I just say, I am so thankful to live in an age where we can get CGI that's on a level that looks real. In 2007, Galactus was just a giant cloud coming towards the Earth, and, as cool as it is fighting a giant cloud, it's not that cool at all. But in this one, we get the true blue skyscraper level Galactus. He feels epic, he's intimidating, he feels legendary, and the guy eats worlds. Maybe this is kind of a spoiler, but sadly we don't see him with a giant spoon just going to town. I kind of wanted to see him do that, where, just grab the Earth and just take a giant bite, like, now that's a good continent. No, we don't get that. But what we get is even better. Him and Silver Surfer have a nice balance where Galactus is just, an overarching bad guy. There's some depth there, but not a ton. He just wants to eat. The Silver Surfer has a lot more depth, and they dive into that, and although she's doing terrible things by leading Galactus to these planets, to some degree you feel for her as the story goes on. As far as my critiques or complaints, I don't have much, but I will say this. While the CGI was really good for most of the movie, there's a few parts where I don't know if they're in a rush. One is the baby. Come on, Sue Storm says she's pregnant in the movie. Not a spoiler. But there's just times where it's a real baby, I'm pretty sure. Then other times where it's just like it looks better than the Twilight baby, if you guys remember that. That romantic vampire movie that was so quality. But yeah, there's a lot of the times where it's just little CGI baby, kind of moving weird. Then the other is Johnny Storm. The scenes where he's flying around and fighting look fantastic. Fantastic. But then there's scenes where he's just floating and talking, and to me it looked like they just kind of painted him red with a little bit of flame around him. It wasn't a game changer, it wasn't awful, but I think some of the older movies did a better job where he's just standing there talking. But most people I've talked to haven't had a problem with this. They all say it was still fantastic. Based on all of this, I'm going to have to give Fantastic Four First Steps a 9 out of 10. I don't have any critiques to make it better. It was a great movie. With this and the release of Superman, I think we're proving superhero fatigue was not a thing. Bad movie fatigue was a thing. Alright, you fantastic people. If you like movies and you sometimes use the bathroom, click the links below for more of both.
Oh yeah, pretty fantastic.